And we're talking gender relationships on this Saturday special. My name is MZ. Our guest in the studio, Vivian Wang and Alex Darnell, and guest/host Amy. Vivian, how are you?
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm not an expert, but I have a lot to say about it. Well, thank you for listening as well and inviting me here. My name is Vivian. So the reason I've been invited by Amy is we met on July 4th, and we talked a lot about our stories in the past and our point of views in life, and she thinks that I have experience in relationship. So anyway, I want to give a brief introduction of my background. So I am divorced right now for 10 years. I was in marriage for 27 years. So I also was in the business, in real estate business in Silicon Valley for 28 years. Basically, most of my life I was working with people. So relationship to me is one of the most challenging things in my life, as well as very rewarding experience. I've learned a lot through relationships. Basically, the reason I'm very keen on learning more about relationship and reflecting on my life is because it is fundamentally very important to everybody's happiness, personal growth, enlightenment, awareness, and also health, physical health and mental health and spiritual health. Right now, I know that it's a new age for relationship because people are changing. The world is changing. So there are a lot of revelations in relationship that people have never really thought about or experienced. So this topic is extremely interesting, not only to me, but I'm sure to a lot of audience. Let me just start with statistics that I know. So from one statistic that I heard, out of 100 couples, 50% got divorced, and 40% are in troubled relationship, in marriage, and not happy. 10% are very happy. That's what I heard. I'm not sure this is true or not. From my personal experience, I can feel that a lot of couples around me, like friends, clients, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are divorced. The divorce rate is really high. And the reason why it's high is because the relationship, marriage, love are troubled. So we need to shine some lights on this topic. Hopefully, today we can benefit the listeners and audience. Hopefully, we can echo my experience and my point of view and my reflection of my life can help some people that listening right now.
Sounds good to me.
I'll buy it. Where do I sign up?
Can I jump in a little bit?
Well, I can stop talking. It's not my show.
Well, I'm
cut my
very,
mic off. What happened?
sometimes I admire those that knows what they want in life and they choose to be single and choose not to be hurt. From my experience, sometimes I wonder if I should have stayed single and not get married because I'm a free spirit. But reflecting and looking back, I think there is always pros and cons in the relationship. Although I struggled for a long time, I can say 20 years of my 27 years marriage. Looking back, that what I learned is marriage and relationship really can make you much stronger and more colorful in your life. Not that I think if I have chosen to be living a single life, never married, no children, I might have regretted what I would be with children and with even a troubled marriage. So,
are your kids listening to this program?
No. So this could be is a very complex. I'm sorry.
Do your kids even know that you're doing this program? Was that by design?
It's okay.
I wish I
don't
could get
care.
rid of the kids. Oh, I didn't say that.
I think my children knows where I stand. I'm really happy I had them so that they taught me so much about life, and they helped me to know how to love, helped me to be more patient and tolerant, and I just couldn't imagine what I would be without them in my life, and without the hardships and I would say sandpapers of my marriage. I don't know who I would be. I think everything has pros and cons, Alex, and
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
This is totally personal on your side. When you say you struggled for 20 years, I mean, what were those struggles? Do you think you just weren't the right person? Wasn't the right chemistry to begin with?
Perfect question. I want to tell you a story. Once I was on a train trip with my mother, and that was right before I was decided to get divorced. And I asked my mother, I said, have you ever told me anything about the hardship and of marriage? And my mom didn't have a very good marriage either, back in China with my dad for 60 years. And she looked at me. I said, why didn't you tell me anything about finding the right person for me, knowing I'm your daughter and you know me, and you should tell me what kind of man would be perfect match for me. She looked at me puzzled. She said, I'm 85 now, and I still don't know. So I forgave her from that moment. But what I've learned early on from my marriage, I would teach my children what is the principle and what is the basis for finding love in marriage. So I told them when they were 3 years old, again and again nagging, when you are going to get married, make sure you visit their family, look at the guy's relationship with the mother, father, and their siblings. Make sure you look at how he treats his friends. And of course, he has to love you. So worst comes worst. If you guys break up or divorce, he's a guy of quality. If he have a good relationship with his family and he treat his friends well, he will not treat you bad.
That's
so that
exactly
is the
true.
Fundamental for a relationship, because you need to find the right person, the quality, nice, kind, compassionate, generous man. So even if the relationship doesn't work out, you are not going to suffer from the consequences from the relationship. So our generation, our elder generation, my parents' generation, grandparents, they have no choice. They just have to get married when they're at a certain age. Now things have changed. Women are empowered as well. They are having the equal opportunity of education as well as a job and opportunities to explore. And so they are not going to be living a life my parents' generation lived, right? And they are going to have more, they want more in life. They have choices as well because the society is more tolerant. So they can choose to be single, they can choose to have children, not to marry at all. They can choose not to get married and still have children. So I tell my kids, I'm pretty open-minded. So I tell my children, whatever life you choose, as long as you're okay with the consequences, I'm happy for you. As long as you are happy and you think that's the best for you, I'm totally happy for you. Don't just walk the way previous generation have walked, because the time have changed. So I think finding the right person for a long-term relationship is really, really important. You'll avoid a lot of sufferings and hardships in your life. And also, love and marriage is totally different thing, And I also tell my girls, I said, if you can fall in love with 100 men, that's fine, I don't care. You have all kind of relationship that helps you to shape yourself, and they are all mirrors, and you can learn a lot from them, and you can grow, and you can be strong. But when you are choosing to get married, that's a commitment, and not only for you, it's for your children. Because if you choose the wrong guy to get married, to be the father of your children, you are going to have so much problems down the road. Because if the father is not qualified, is not a good man, your children will suffer.
Can I ask a question? Why do you think, I 100,000% agree with you that, yeah, you pick the wrong person, you're not going to be happy. But why do people pick the wrong people? That's the key.
I love all your questions. Because when you are at 20 years old and 25 versus you are 50 and 60, you're not having too much life experience, and you get excited about the look of the guy, the intellectual, or his
credentials.
The credentials, his, a lot of like chemistry, and the way he carries himself, and also because you are. In my case, I was very compassionate about guys who are less fortunate than I am. So I'm trying I'm the savior. I'm trying to help him, So you pick the wrong guy because you're not paying too much attention to the consequences.
But they had a goal, and the goal was to have a family and to have careers. And they both, you could see the commitment was equal. And I think with some of the feminist movement people, the commitment to themselves and their work thing is bigger than it is to the family and certainly to the marriage. And I think that that's really prevalent in this town, actually.
What do you think, Vivian?
Yeah,
well, I think it's if women are happy, a man will be happy. Women have a lot of opportunities, and so they have choices in life. If the partner is not very emotionally mature and helpful with the children, and that's going to be really tough on the woman. When you are a lot of women, if they have equally financially independence and they have equally good career and doing so much more at home, and the husband is not contributing financially as much and not helping the family grow, and that's going to be a problem because we're supposed to grow with a lot of space, but we all grow together, not pulling each down. So when one grows faster than the other, and the other one try to pull the other person down, that's where the problem comes from. I think growing together is the key in a long-term relationship. And the other thing I want to emphasize is, I'm sure a lot of listeners have troubled the relationship and want to find out what to do. Since I'm one of the ones that actually get divorced out of all of you guys, so I have a little bit advice is divorce for me, I'm not saying for everyone, encouraging thing, and it is the beginning of my new life, and it is not a ending of my life. It is a new beginning. And I thrive, and I get stronger, and I get smarter, and I've learned so much from the past 27 years marriage life that actually mold me and build me up. And I become stronger, but a better version of myself just because I have experienced the hardships. Anybody that's having a tough relationship, work it out first, and if not, divorce is not the worst. It's not a loss to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people. It's a beginning.
You hear story after story of people going through divorce, and it almost kills them. And your message is, don't let it kill you.
There's always choices for all the people. If you choose to get out, you have to find a solid reason. I feel I need freedom, and I feel I can be a better person by myself. And if you want to get divorced because you think you can find a better man, you are fantasizing somebody is going to save you from your troubled marriage and give you a better life, you have to think again. Every single partner will bring you different packages. So the intention of getting out of a marriage life has to be really clear. So for me, is freedom and explore myself and improve myself, growing spiritually and physically. So for a lot of people, they just want to get a better package. They want to change a better package. Of course, that's another good reason, but just be very careful about that. You never know unless you live with somebody, then you know what the difference of the package is.
They'll show you your weaknesses is what happens. Every partner will bring out some weakness of yourself, and then you want to get rid of that. You have to be the one that works on that to make it better. That switching partners won't fix that.
Exactly.
And we're talking gender relationships on this Saturday special. My name is MZ. Our guest in the studio is Vivian Wang and Alex Darnell, and guest/host Amy Howe. Vivian is not at all broken up over your decision to divorce after 27 years. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You feel like you've been set free. And that's the message that you want to put out to our audience. So many people who go through divorces are so depressed that they want to kill themselves sometimes.
I am curious about how did your kids take the divorce, and what would they have the same view as you?
Kids get mature. They understand marriage and love much better than when they were young. When they were young, they had lack of security, and so she was afraid.
But kids never get that because they take the side of the parent who basically didn't want the divorce.
You're right, but the thing is, you have to handle it really well after divorce. I just don't say anything.
That's smart.
And I warned her to observe using her own eyes, her own mind to find out down the road. And she realized that setting me free from this marriage is so good for me, and I was so happy, and both of my children saw that. And as kids, the only thing they want to see is your parents to be happy no matter in divorce or married, right? So I think I'm setting a good example for them, versus my parents are not setting a good example for me. They were so unhappy, but they stayed, and that really troubled all of our siblings and myself. We never learned from good role models from our parents' marriage. The one last thing I want to say about divorce, I was very worried about being alone and very sad and alone. I have fears. But after divorce, I started to plan my own life. And more and more, I realized that I become more independent. And I realized that the fear that I had is really imagined. I have much more social life than before. When you're in a marriage, you have to make sure that your partner is okay with you going out with different events and travel with different people. Now you just make decision, and you do a lot of more things and layers of lives, and you're more colorful. You get to know more people, go to different places. So my life has been so enriched in the last 10 years. And I think you can. It's an option. It's a choice. It doesn't mean you will be lonely and sad and by yourself. No, if you venture out and you have all this freedom and time, you can live a so much better life and enriched life with the experience that you had in pain and suffering. You will appreciate it so much better and so much more. And you realize how precious it is to be free and to have choices in life and to have the courage to live your own life. I have another comments that I want to mention is because in a marriage, kids are really important, and then also because you go through the tough job of raising kids, and tragedies happens in the family. And when that happened, it can really break you or make you both more united. So a lot of people getting divorced because there are tragedies happens to their family, and both of them are handled so differently. And so that can be a really challenging situation, such as a death in the family or kids' health problems. So it depends on how both works out. It really is a testing field for what kind of person you are, what quality you have, tolerance you have, love you have, endurance you have. So if both partners are not on the same page, it can break the family.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. What's inside a lemon,
But that's
lemonade.
where the strength of the person, that's why you have to you choose somebody that has quality. There's a quality person.
I agree with you, but sometimes it is not that easy to know the quality unless crisis or challenging things happens in your life. That's a tough thing. That's what I went through as part of my situation.
But my question is, lots of successful men, they're doing very well, but they don't want to get married because they think that they don't want a divorce. So what is that?
I can go along with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Careful, because there are a lot of gold diggers there. And I know, there are a lot of gold diggers. They don't want to work hard. They just want to.
But you can tell a gold digger a mile away.
Sometimes you are not, don't think you are so smart. No, you can be fooled because gold diggers are not like on their face, they say gold digger.
Oh, there's tips they do.
Well, you are
They
smart
expect you to
enough.
pay everything. That's number one. No, at the beginning, that's where
There are so many.
Oh, good. Let's get into an argument. I'm repelled by clinging women.
Yeah.
Mike, why people cling to you? Because you have something valuable. If you are penniless, you are powerless,
Nobody.
who is going to cling into you?
Now you're talking.
For what benefit?
See? You
I
know
thought
that.
Useless my cat really loved me.
Only
But all
animals.
Useless really cared about was that I fed him.
See?
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 Wow, it's coming into focus now.
People who are lazy, they don't want to work hard, they don't want to put efforts into anything they do. If they can get out, they can get.
Well, they might work hard to get
but that's
their
their
gold.
skill. That's something they think is easy for them.
While they're
right?
digging for their gold, they
Yeah,
might
but
work hard.
they are.
But
some
that's
of them-
a high return.
high
Much
return
high
investment.
return. With your beauty and with your beauty and youth.
Use, yeah.
You just naturally, you don't have to work hard.
And they usually have charisma to begin with. And people that have charisma can get more out of life and other people than people that are more introverted.
They can learn,
Yeah,
you know.
you're right.
The art of seduction. You can read a book and you
Wow.
can learn how to.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I think you guys are incredible. Just the insights that Vivian brought, and I not only feel you as like kind of an individual and what you went through in your life with marriage and children and that type of thing, but also some of that deep wisdom that comes from the Chinese culture, that we admire everywhere around the world. I mean, I know it has some drawbacks, of course, but it's very, very admirable, and it's definitely something for the rest of the world and other cultures to look at. And I really appreciate it. I'd love to hear you guys talking about anything in the future again.
Station will explode. After all, none of us would be here were it not for gender relationships. This is an indisputable fact. But why do we waste so much time talking politics and other topics that lead nowhere? Clearly, different genders think differently, but where in the world can one train for a successful relationship? I know of no college course called Relationships 101. Do you? Well, there should be. Join us on the next KSCO special when we will present no fewer than 2 acclaimed gender relationships experts this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on Don't Worry, We'll Fill the Emotional Voids in Your Life Radio, KSCO.